Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, we're going to talk about Ramos. Now, as we know from the one thing I really wanted to do as soon as I first saw Ramos, I've actually had this deck built for a while, and I thought I had done it, but evidently I didn't. And when I updated the room here, I come across it, and I was trying to put it in order, and as it turns out, I haven't recorded it yet. But anyway, I wanted to put when I first saw him, the bones of Ramos, the heart of Ramos, from the Mercadian Mask rare mana rocks, but I didn't. Because only in EDH do we have that last sentence, activate this ability only once each turn. I love it. You cast a spell, it gets a counter for each of that spell's colors, and you can remove 5 to get Progenitus mana, so double Woo Bird, whatever. So I'm not going to lie. The very first thing I thought about was, probably like most people, what's the ceiling here? What is the most amount of counters I can get on it? And I come up with an arbitrarily large number. I say that because infinite is not a thing in Magic, even though we all say it. So, I'll show you the first simple combo. We have, gosh, it's a super old combo. Recycle, play a card, draw a card. Everybody knows that. And Allurin. Now, believe it or not, Allurin and Recycle came in the same Precon deck back then. You got an Allurin Recycle Precon deck. And this says that anybody can pay 3 CMC creatures or less, like they had Flash, and for the free. So, Fleetfoot Panther is a is a card not a lot of people play with, but he's 3 mana cost. You play him for free. He has to bounce another green or a green or white one, so he bounces himself, and he is 2 colors, so that's putting 2 counters on your commander. And if you've got crazy stuff going on, like Soul's Attendant or whatever, yeah, you gain some life. Silver Drake essentially does the same thing. We're playing 5 colors, so we have some options there. Now, that's pretty narrow, and I know it. So I wanted a little more, reach, if you will. So let's look first at ramp. We're running 5 colors, so that's like everything else, like every other 5-color deck, we're going to lean really heavy on green for the land search. That's, I don't know if y'all can tell that's full or not, but I was really proud of that out of the one UMA draft I did. Harrow, Cultivate, Rites of Flourishing doubles up as, extra land drops and card draw, so that's pretty neat. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of card draw. We've got Harmonize, but we have some card draw in other forms. Let's see, where were we? Oh, yeah. Soul Ring, Worn Power Stone, Gilded Lotus. And here I tried to go heavy on the things that could produce any color mana. The Searchlight, Ingot, Manalith, the Sphere, Birds of Paradise. Now, to recross the pass, I have not had a good friend of mine, Matt, who I've played with for years, has absolutely exceptional luck with recross the pass. I've seen him use it 5-6 times a game. I don't, so maybe. Of course, we got Burnished Heart, which is not going to add any counters to our guy, but it does, it does search up 2 basic land cards, which, by the way, no, I'll get to that in a minute. And Trace of Abundance. I normally don't run wild growth-ish type lands, but this one's 3 colors, so it's it's going to solve some mana issues by letting you get an extra mana of any color. It does give the land Shroud. I don't know. I think that's just tacked on, to be honest with you. I think they were like, well, it doesn't do enough for 2 mana, so yeah. And it's 3 colors. So that's why. So let's look at some +1/+1 counter shenanigans. Obviously, if you've got the doubling season, play it. I don't have an abundance of doubling seasons. Y'all have seen the only 2 that I own. But hardened scales, that's a real thing. Corpse Jack Menace. Voral of the Hull Clad. Clade? Yeah, it's Clade. Because it's got the E. Now, I like the Tuskguard Captain because I like it having trample. Because, if you've got, 1,000 commander, it doesn't really mean a lot if, they're producing Thopters. So, giving it trample is pretty awesome. Increasing Savagery. Now, increasing Savagery is an awful lot like a ritual in this deck. And I thought about doing like the common bond version. There's common bond isn't it, but y'all know what I'm talking about. But this is more or less a ritual. It calls for you getting 10 mana out of it. Not bad when you look at it that way. Yeah, you can leave it on your commander and just beat face with it, or you can put the exact number of counters he needs on it to activate his second ability and get 10 mana out of it. So 4 for 10 is a good rate. I have to believe that if they printed a card that was a 4 mana sorcery that gave us 10 mana, we would all play it. In this deck, that's this card. And then we get to the flashback. So that's pretty neat. Bred for the Hunt. You get to draw cards, and I have a sneaky suspicion that a lot of our creatures are going to have +1/+1 counters on it. Solidarity of Heroes. Why is it taking so long for this thing to focus? Double the number of counters on them. So that's really good. The Armament Corps. This one is not particularly strong, except it is a 5 mana 4/4 that adds 10 mana to the pool. Because it's got 3 colors, it's going to drop 3 counters on it, and then the ability is going to drop 2 counters on it. So if you tack on, is a 5 mana 4/4 get 10 mana worth it? Probably. And then, of course, we have Retaliator Griffin that doesn't really do anything for the commander, but it does kind of work with the theme. Now, speaking of the theme, if we're serious about the recycle alluring thing, to which, that's what, 4 cards we've got devoted to it, so maybe not, I don't know. But we need a good, and I'm running more than I normally do for tutors. The Worldly Tutor to go find whatever creature. It may be the Corpse Jack Menace that seals the game. It may be the Fleetfoot Panther. It may be whatever. But it's there. The Fabricate to go find an artifact piece. Whatever it may be. Lily and Diabolic to go find whatever we want. The Green Sun Zenith, same thing, to go get the probably the Fleetfoot. And then ultimately the Planar Bridge, because we are going to be producing some mana. That's just the side effect of Ramos and playing with the counters is, well, we can only activate his 10 mana ability once a turn, but we can do it once every turn. So, now, what do we got? Random stuff to protect it. Of course, we have a Whisper Silk Cloak, a Mask of the Avacyn. Because, that's the problem with playing 5 colors, is that you literally have everything to choose from. So, yes, there's a million cards I could have put in here, but this was kind of I don't know. Now, back in Alara Reborn, we had a cycle because I wanted to try to make it. It's 5 colors, but I kind of wanted to make it as fast as I could. We had a cycle of the blades that were 3-color, 2-mana creatures that helped if you had another multicolor permanent. So I thought, you know what? For 2 mana, I can get 3 counters on my dude. And have some incidental blockers here that are not bad for 2 mana. So we have the Bant Sureblade, Naya Hushblade, Jund Hackblade. What did Evan Irwin call this one? Crunch Crunch? I can't remember. It's been a while. The Grixis Grimblade. Death Touch is kind of nice. And the Esper Stormblade. And I just got lucky enough to have all those in foil. Because if y'all will remember, the Alara block got those foil packs. It was all 3 sets in a 15-card pack. So you could get a rare from one set and uncommons from other, but they were solid foils. And I really liked that. That was like the first $15 pack or $10 pack. I can't remember, but it was every card was foil, and that's actually kind of what I hoped Masters would end up being. But then it wasn't. So anyway. What else we got here? Do we have removal? We got a little bit of removal. We got 1 single board wipe. Well, 2 if you want to count Radiant Flames, because let's face it, it's going to deal 3 damage. I don't know. We have a Chaos Warp to cure what ails us. Yeah, this would be a great spot for all of those black-white pop target permanent cards. Those are great. Now, Crystallization, there again, same set. And if something happens to it, it just gets exiled completely. Slave of Bolas is total removal. I mean, that's, it's worth 5 mana for that. I'm gonna steal your thing, beat you with it, and sack it. I don't think we have any more of the Transguild Courier has to be in the deck, simply because he has 4 colors and he's all 5 colors, so he's 4 mana. Here again, it's just like Savagery. He's 4 mana for 10, and he leaves behind a 3/3 body, so that's pretty neat. The Abzan Charm is 3 mana for 10 mana as a ritual. So Chromanticore, I will admit, Chromanticore's in there because, I mean, how often do we really get to play with this guy? That's not foil. I don't know why it's having such a time. But I think maybe because the words are so dang small on it. Well, that right there sheds some shade on the topic. And since we're in that 5-colorness, you know that I absolutely had to run the Progenitus, because if we're getting Progenitus mana, we might as well be playing Progenitus. Let's see if we can scoot it back and get a little better read on it. Still getting used to the new setup, the new lighting, but I am not happy with that right there. I mean, technically it's readable. Anyway, Progenitus, it's absolutely, I don't know that you can probably get more mana symbols on a single card. BFM would like a word, I guess. Got the Composite Golem, which doesn't add any counters, but it does give you the Wooburg if you need the Wooburg for like casting something with, say, Joda. Running the Archangel, because we're getting all of the colors here. So, I mean, and this is an amazing card. Bring to Light. And why did this suddenly get super weird? Conflux, because let's face it, here again, how often do we really get to play with this card? And I've got so many from the vault copies, it's just, And we have Helix Pinnacle, because like I said, we're incidentally going to be producing some mana. Now, it does feel cheap. 101 mana equals win the game. But we're also running Door. Now, here's the part I wanted to get to earlier. Door to Nothingness. Granted, Door to Nothingness only eliminates one player. But there are a lot of cards in Commander. I'm pleading here to Sheldon. I'm sure he doesn't watch, but some of y'all may contact him. But here's my line of thinking. We have so many instant win cards. We have Epic Struggle, Felidar Sovereign. I mean, there was a whole cycle that Epic Struggle is a part of. Now, granted, I mean, we can run Balowitz, but it's no real point. But there's each color had one in that block, white, blue, black. There's so many different alt-win cons. Y'all just saw the Helix Pentacle. Why is Coalition Victory banned? Out of all of the instant win cons, it has the hardest time. Because you've got to have one of each basic land type and a creature of each color. And while, yes, you can solve that with shocks and duels and even the random enchantments from Shadowmoor that make all lands all creature types. And you've even got like the Transguild Courier there that's all the colors. But you know, if that's your thing, if that's what you're dedicating your deck space to, there's a cost in that. There's a deck building cost in it. And I don't understand why. I think because when EDH was a thing, just beginning, it was on the list, the initial list, and it's just never dropped off. We don't. I love their curation of the list. By the way, I'm not trying to critique that. I was just wondering, why can't I have beautiful foil copies of Coalition Victory, just chilling in binders, right beside Panoptic Mirrors and to learn academies. But anyway, let's get to the land suite. Obviously, I tried. I went 5-color first. The 5-color lands, the Tower, Orchard, Spire, and other Spire. And I even went so far as the Rainbow Veil, which, by the way, Rainbow Veil, if y'all are not used to, I think this is this a Fallen Empires Reserve list card? I think it might be. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it's got Foglio art, so it's amazing. Yeah, I appreciate all art styles, but when I played the deck and I played Rainbow Veil, it is a great political card because there's clearly the one player who pulls out in front of everybody else, and nobody would give him the veil. We just passed it back and forth between them, and it ignored him. We have the Transguild Promenade, and there's enough gold in the deck to justify, I think, Pillar of the Params. Normally, I historically run the Pillar with like solid gold decks, but Opal Palace, of course, the Evolving Wilds and the Blighted Woodland to go fetch. Y'all know I've got to have a Rogue's Passage because if we're talking a ridiculously large general, yeah, making it unblockable is pretty good. Now, then I went to Tri-Lands. If you will notice, I'm not running all the Tri-Lands, but I'm only running the Tri-Lands that produce green, because green is our primary color for, mana fixing and land search and what have you. So I run all the Tri-Lands that produce green. A lot of people don't consider Murmuring Bosk a Tri-Land, but it legit is. It's even a forest, so you can get it with nature's lore and things like that. Anyway, that is what I have got for Ramos. I've already got 375 and 376 built and listed, so I guess if y'all want spoilers to that, you can check out the tapped out page. But I'm learning that the reason why you hear all of the YouTubers say smash the like button, comment, share, and all that, it does help out the algorithm. So, and I've recently found out that it's almost 60% of viewers are not subscribed. So, if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe. Of course, we're past the 20-minute mark, and if you're still watching, you're probably already a subscriber, and I thank you for it. I want to thank y'all and all the patrons and the guys at EDH Rec. Should have an article coming out soon. I turned in the 360 block not too long ago, so it should be coming out. I appreciate y'all watching. Let me know what you think. But right now, I think we're going to shuffle and cut